In this video, I'm going to describe the structure, the process, the goals of the new trading room that will begin on September 2nd. I will try to do both here, kind of describe what to expect and actually show you a live demonstration of what we will be doing in that room. So right now it's still a bit pre-market. The room will start normally right around 9:30. If you have US levels, you obviously know there are opportunities even before the session opens. But as far as the room, I'm going to start at 9:30. I will be trading prop firm accounts, not my own money. I will be using rotational risk allocation, which is a money management approach to multiple accounts. I have a video on that. It's in the Discord members area. The goal of this approach is to maximize profits while taking advantage of the insanely cheap evaluations that are now being sold by multiple prop firms. So I will be using my edge, most of which is the US levels method. I might be combining it with other things, but my main edge is the US levels method. I will be using that edge to really push and to get as much profit as possible, definitely being a bit on the aggressive side. Now, I do understand not all of you are, let's say, as aggressive as I am currently. I myself was not as aggressive as I am now until I kind of really stopped and looked at what is going on in the prop firm space and realized there was no more reason to kind of be afraid of blowing accounts because these evaluations are so cheap. We now have multiple companies that completely done away with activation fees. So now we have super cheap evaluations and no activation fee. And so there was really no more reason to try and be really careful. Now, obviously, if you're trading your own money, it's a whole different story. So in the room, what I will try to do now, this might take me a while kind of to make it part of my routine. I will try to always describe if my particular entry is aggressive or conservative, and I will try to tell you where the better entry is. I'll be scaling in, so I might start a bit before the ideal location and kind of scale in. If price does come to my ideal location, I will, let's say, take another position in the same direction. I have a definite stop. I will be describing everything. At least that's my goal. I'll be describing the location of entry, if it's aggressive or conservative, where the better entry is, where my stop is, and where my target might be. So I can start demonstrating this now. So I am taking
Order submitted.
one contract short over here, but this is not the ideal location. A much better location is right around 600, between 600 and 605. So why am I taking a short here? Well, because price has trouble. Overall, I expect to move lower, and price is already having trouble getting through here. So this is just my kind of first and just my first contract. If they can't make it to my ideal location, I'm gonna just stay in this trade. Now, what am I expecting to hit? I'm expecting price to hit around between 530 and 535. Again, if you have US levels method, you understand exactly why. Take a look at this date. You can look on your own charts and see why I'm saying between 530 and 535 as my target. So let's quickly discuss the math part of this. So I said before, I will be very aggressive, pushing for big profits, and in the process, uh, I will be blowing sim funded accounts. So what is the logic behind this? And here is the logic. Let's say with a firm like Take Profit Trader, which was one of my favorite because of the fact that in sim funded there was no consistency rule and daily payouts. So TPT is just great in my opinion, slightly more expensive than others, but for me it's worth it. So let's say I have a TPT account that I start off and I'm down $2,000, meaning on a 50K account, I just blew that account, right? So $2,000 blown, let's say, and this account is gone. And then I push again, I try again, and in the second TPT account, I make 1,000. Now let's do the math. Now, immediately you say, wait a minute, if you're up 1,000 and you lost 2,000, aren't you down 1,000? In real money, yes. If you're trading your own accounts, yes, for sure, this is the correct math, but not when it comes now to the prop firms. Let me explain. If you make $1,000 with TPT, it's an 80-20 split. You walk away with 800, correct? Yes. Okay. You blew an account. With current sales, TPT for a 50K is about $100 for the evaluation. My success rate with evaluations with the end of day trailing drawdowns as opposed to intraday with end of day like TPT and others, I have a 50% success rate. What does that mean? I pass 1 out of 2 evaluations. In other words of saying it, I need 2 evaluations to pass and get my funded account back that I just blew. Okay? Which means $200. So here is the math. If I make 1,000 and I take 800 because of the 80-20 split, it now costs me $200 on average to get back the funded account I lost. I walk away with $600 net. You understand? So that's what makes it so attractive. Now, not too long ago, you could not do this kind of math. Things were much more expensive. But now, TPT, no activation fee, and there are others with no activation fee. For example, my funded futures is another one. They don't have as good of a payout policy as TPT, but still, it's end of day. It's cheap and no activation fee. Actually, cheaper than TPT. So this is the math. So understand now, right? I am willing to blow some accounts to achieve a high profit where I can then take a payout, easily pay to get the blown account back. Now, obviously, this depends on where you are in your trading journey. If it takes you 10 evaluation accounts to pass and get the same funded account back, well, obviously the math doesn't work anymore, right? If you make 1,000, you walk away with 800, and now you have to spend 1,000 to get the same funded back. It doesn't work. So you obviously need to be in a place where 1 out of 2, 1 out of 3, kind of even 1 out of 4 is barely okay. Really should be not any worse than 1 out of 3. And if you are there, then it pays. Now, in the live room, I will be showing you how to quickly get those payouts. Just understand it's not all profit, right? And on some days in the live room, you're gonna see me go for 2,000 and more, but almost always it's not all profit because of everything I just described. I might have to buy back, which means I have to buy the evaluations and pass them with my success rate of 50% for end of day. By the way, I'm 33%, 1 out of 3, with intraday accounts such as Bullanox and Apex, right? So 1 out of 3 if it's intraday, 1 out of 2 if it's end of day. So overall at this point, I have 24 both sim funded and live accounts, and I really dislike the live accounts. It's a different video, but one of the unintended good consequences since I started trading in the way I just described is that I am no longer offered live accounts. Because all of a sudden now I'm blowing accounts, which to me is great. I much rather deal with sim funded than live accounts. Me personally, I know some people think they're great. I don't see what's so great. I get worse fills, and there are different rules sometimes with those truly live accounts. So I'm very happy with sim funded. With 24 accounts, I basically divided them into 8 groups of 3, and again I'll be describing all of this in the live room. And then I pretty much copy most, not always. Again, everything is very situation dependent. If I'm very comfortable with a certain position, then I might copy the 3 accounts in a given group. So then if I'm up 1,000, I'm actually up 3,000 because I copy the other 3. Of course, the opposite is true, right? If trade goes against me, then obviously I take 3 times the loss. So it's not, I don't always do that. It all depends on a given situation. Now, as far as should you be copying my trades? And I always said it, and I'm going to continue to say it, copying trades is not the way to go. You will not grow as a trader by copying my trades. That's my trading plan, okay? Everything I'll be doing in the room is my trading plan. I am comfortable with my trading plan. I know my trading plan is profitable, but it's still my trading plan. So you need to perhaps use some information you see to help you with your own plan and your own executions. Having said that, of course, we're all adults. We all take responsibility for our own trading. We are aware of the risk. If you choose to at first kind of copy my trades, look, I'm not going to stop you. I'm just saying, ultimately, if you want to grow as a trader, you need to trade your plan, not my plan. So as I described, right, in the room, I will be saying, taking a short at such and such, a better price, as I said, would have been closer to 600. You see, price never got there, and I'm targeting around between 530 and 535. Where is my stop? Let's say if they get above 605, 610. Then I would be getting out of all my short positions. Yes, I might probably be taking a pretty good hit if that was to happen, and it still could happen, right? I mean, they can turn around here. They're just kind of spiking the low. They could still turn around. Let's say that happens. I would be switching accounts. Okay, so that's the rotational risk allocation. I don't put all the risk on one account. If I take a loss, that's fine. I'm now going to bring in another account. And because I'm trading with an edge, eventually I will be in a very good situation, let's say, where I could really hit a very large profit, even though I took maybe a couple of hits on 1 or 2 accounts, and then comes the big move and I collect. So that is the logic. So you see them going now. I'm up like 500 on this one. I'm going to place my stop now here.
Order submitted.
That's another thing. I'm not necessarily saying hold to my targets. Again, it has to do with your plan. Your plan might be making $100 a day. Now, I've been suggesting it since I started the service. And again, it's not like I'm going back on what I was saying, the environment was different, right? When I started with these prop firm accounts, there were no 90% sales. There were, forget about activation fee, there were monthly fees, right? It was just a whole different environment. And so, but it's not like there was something wrong with still going for 100 a day. If that's your plan, go for 100 a day. You're going to find plenty of opportunities where you can make 100 a day, like 5 Nasdaq points if you're trading a mini or whatever. Which kind of brings me back to the next, and that's micros. What if you trade micros? Fine, trade micros. Again, I am trading my plan. I do not trade micros. That does not mean that you cannot trade micros. As far as, well, but I'm showing the Nasdaq, is it the same as MNQ? It's pretty much the same. I mean, a few ticks of difference, not really, not a big deal. I would say, can you follow me if you're trading MNQs? Of course, yes, you can. Let's kind of bring this down some more. I don't want to, so maybe I'll just so again, my ultimate target, and if I got in with multiples, I just got in with one because it was pretty far from the ideal entry at around 600, right? Normally I would get in with more than just one. So if I got in with more than just one, I would be taking a profit like around 25 points. I would be taking a profit between 20 and 25 points, and then see if I can reach the actual target of, like I said, between 530 and 535. Right now here it did not quite work out, but again, only because I got in with one. If you're targeting, for example, 100 a day, obviously you are all done here. I'm gonna keep waiting. Let's see if they'll come back. Let's see if they'll come toward my ideal location, and I'll be walking you through this in the room. So I have a lot to think about when I'm in the room, describing the situation to you, talking about ideal entries or more aggressive entries, what I'm targeting, where stops. So all this is is hopefully, I really hope I'll be able to just remember everything I need to do. At first, I might slip a little bit, so you're gonna help me when I slip. You're gonna tell me, hey, no, you didn't tell us. If this is a conservative entry or an aggressive entry. Maybe you didn't tell us the stop or you didn't tell us the target. That's okay. Just tell me in the chat. Hey, that's so. But I think within a few days, a week or so, I should have it down, and it will just become part of the routine. As far as, will I only have the Nasdaq? Let's start with just the Nasdaq. Again, just allow me to kind of get into this. Since I have HPS signals for the YM as well, maybe at least for the morning there, I'm going to have the YM. Maybe gold, but gold very often already hits its target because gold opens at 820. By the time 9:30 comes around, they might already be kind of hitting targets there. So yeah, let me take a break here because I do have to work on HPS signals for this morning. It is getting late. Yeah, let me take a quick break and then see if we can get something else a bit later. Okay, so I'm back. Still a bit before the open. So the HPS short trigger this morning is at 543. So it seems very likely we should be hitting that 543 short trigger. So again, I wouldn't mind. I'll just take a short.
Order submitted.
I'm going to take a short here. Not an ideal location. Much better, of course, is to try and wait, see if it can come all the way here, or at the very least over here. What I will be doing, if price does come here, I'm going to take another short. I'm going to take another one over here. And then my stop would be above 600. So just so you know, aggressive, but very high probability of success because they should be hitting 543, and I imagine if they hit 543, they're going to complete the 530 to 535. So maybe I'll kind of put my target here.
Order submitted.
Over here. Yep, so now nothing to do but wait. Uh, Again, if you're a more conservative trader, you'll be looking at this pivot, and at this pivot. An ideal short is closer to like 600. So no, just letting you know, and that's what I'll be letting you know in the room. This way, you have all the information in front of you, and you will decide what you want to do. As far as I'm concerned, they're going to be hitting that 543. I mean, they're so close to it now. They're going to be hitting it. And of course, HPS signals are different every day. Just the way it worked out this morning, it's at 543, which is not ideal because the US level is at like 533. So, and levels very often lead to reactions. So this HPS signal doesn't really have that much in it before a reaction is likely. But I am very confident that we'll be hitting that trigger. Again, in multiples, I would take one off at 43 and then see how far down it could go. See if it can reach the 533 and maybe even break it. It's not that I don't expect it to break it, but just very often there are reactions from a US level. Okay, so here they come.
Order submitted.
Just in case, I'm going to put my stop here now. Maybe drag it down some. They are getting into the US level very close, you see. So once they get here, that's when I expect at least a reaction, which is why I said this morning, unfortunately, the HPS signal just was not that perfect. But HPS signals are completely, here we go, hit it.
Order canceled.
HPS signals have nothing to do with US levels. It's a completely independent methodology. So you saw. So that's the kind of thing that I hope to be doing in the room. Now, of course, so far these two trades I took, both are profitable. That's not always going to be the case, of course. I mean, I don't have to tell you this, but I just to make it clear that's not. Here is the reaction from the US level, right? Which is why I said when it happens that an HPS signal is kind of right at the US level, you want to be cautious because the US level is very, very powerful and react. I'm not saying reversals, but reactions at least are very likely. All right, so as you see now, I switched accounts, right? So I was up 750 in that other account. I switched, and that's the idea of rotational risk allocation. You're not stuck with one account. You always rotate, win or lose. You always rotate. When you achieve a certain decent profit, you want to keep it, and so you go to the next account. Now, if you remember in the beginning of the video, I was talking about the importance of the 600 area. Now, I am not too crazy about shorting right now. Why is that? They hit 490. 490 is today's daily level, so not US level, but daily level. They just nicked that 490 and immediately turned around. That is bullish. That is bullish. When they react like that from, in this case, the sell level, that is bullish. They reach their target and they turn around over 100 points already. So I'm not too crazy about a short trade at this point. I am now looking for a long trade. All right, so now I am going to start getting long here.
Order submitted.
I'm going to take one here, going to take one a little lower if they're going to come down a little lower, maybe here. I'll take
Order submitted.
I'll take another long, expecting to at least test this pivot over here. So this is a fairly conservative, well, maybe not too, a more conservative is slightly higher actually. But overall the direction, I believe from this point, is bullish because of the turnaround at at 490. Yeah, so they're just going. Unfortunately, did not grab my second contract here, but let's see if they, again, if I was in multiples, I would take one off here. They could go higher. Um, here they go.
Order submitted.
All right, I'm gonna take it. So my other account was up 750, and here I have around, yeah. So close to 1,000, and my goal in the room is gonna be anywhere from 500 to 1,000 a day. I'm sorry, 2,000 a day or more. It all depends on the day. This has been fairly kind of slow so far, so it all depends on the kind of volatility we have. I mean, slow but very directional. Once they hit this 490, and if you're curious about the 490, where did that come from? That is the daily level. So those I post in Discord after Globex opens, and you see the 490, right? So the 490, which is a daily level, gets hit, and they immediately turn around. That is a bullish scenario. So first, to get here, of course, is bearish. To get to the 490 is bearish, and you could use, of course, US levels to complete the move toward 490. But then it's immediate turnaround, which is bullish. So yeah, let's see if they can pull back. I will take another long. I am very confident we're going to see at some point this pivot being tested. They stopped a bit shy of it, so I can try another long here. All right, well, they're living without me. That's okay. In any case, so what kind of accounts would I recommend you have? Obviously, it's all completely up to you. Now, my newer accounts are all 50K. Some of my older ones, I have 150 and so, but the ones I've gotten lately, specifically for the purpose of using rotational risk allocation, they're all 50. And with a 50K, again, depending on the firm, it's anywhere from 2,000 to 2,500 in drawdown. I prefer end of day. So I prefer companies like Take Profit or my funded futures. However, there was nothing wrong with Apex, there was nothing wrong with Bullanox or whatever company you like. I really don't like daily max drawdowns because then they're cut in half, like 1,200 or whatever. That I don't like. But again, that's just me. If you're comfortable with those, fine. I'll be trading 50K accounts between 2,000 and 2,500 available in drawdown. I'll be trading between 1 and 4 contracts. Now, so far today, you've only seen me do one. That's just the way it worked out. Different situations will call for different leverage, right? Because I was pretty far from a good entry from the U.S. levels perspective, I only took one contract, and here I took one, hoping they'll come down for me to get the second one, and they never did. So again, it was just one. So in today's example, it was just one, but I'm just telling you, in the room, it will range anywhere from 1 to 4 contracts. I'll say it again. That's just my plan, my money management, my approach. Not necessarily something that you should do. You need to be comfortable with whatever style you are trading. So I think that's it for this video, just explaining the room. I will probably open the room as early as 9 o'clock. Not promising they're going to be trades immediately, but I'll probably open the room around 9 o'clock. I imagine I'm going to give you some kind of a overview, what I expect for the day. If I have any particular bias, long or short, I will explain it between, let's say, 9 and 9:30. I imagine most trades will take place after the open. Now, when I'm trading, I'm not going to be looking at the chat box. So all questions should be after I'm done with trading. Understand, when I'm trading, it's not only the screen that you will see me use in Zoom. I have 3 computers going. As I said, I have 24 accounts altogether, so I will be trading other accounts besides the one you're going to see in Zoom. So, I really will not be looking at the chat box. Once trading is done, I'm going to answer all the questions, and that's all good. But when I'm trading, I'm just focused on trading. Some people can multitask and they can do teaching and they can do answering questions and they can trade. I cannot. When I trade, I just trade. So, um, that is it. I hope you liked it. As always, leave a like, and I hope to see all of you in the live room. Thank you. See you next time.